Admiral Kim Soo-jin walked slowly across the bridge of the UES Defiance. Her boots made soft clicking sounds on the metal floor. Outside the large windows, stars twinkled in the black space like tiny diamonds. She had seen these stars her whole life, but today felt different. Today humanity would meet beings from another world for the first time. "Admiral," called Park Min-ho from his station. His voice shook a little. "Long-range sensors are picking up something big, really big." Kim moved to stand beside him. The young officer's hands moved quickly over his controls. Numbers and lights flashed on his screen. "How big?" she asked. "Bigger than anything we've ever built, ma'am. Much bigger." Kim nodded and walked to the center of the bridge. Around her, 30 crew members worked at their stations. These were good people, smart people, but they were all scared. She could see it in their eyes, hear it in their voices. "All ships, this is Admiral Kim," she spoke into her communication device. "Stay calm, stay ready. Today, we make history." The space in front of them began to change. It twisted and bent like water. Then huge ships appeared from nowhere. 1, 2, 5, 10 ships. Each one was the size of a small city. Their dark metal surfaces gleamed under the light of nearby stars. Strange symbols glowed along their sides. Kim felt her heart beat faster. These were not human ships. They were something else entirely. "Admiral," Park Min-ho said quietly, "they're trying to talk to us." "Put them on the main screen." The large screen at the front of the bridge flickered to life. What Kim saw made her step back. The being on the screen was tall, maybe 8 feet. Its skin looked like green-brown leather. It had 4 arms and eyes that glowed yellow in the dark. When it opened its mouth, Kim could see sharp teeth. The creature spoke in a deep voice. Somehow, Kim could understand the words perfectly. "I am War Commander Thexval of the Dominion Empire. You will listen to my words and obey them." Kim stepped forward. "I'm Admiral Kim Soo-jin of the United Earth Space Command. We're here to talk." Thexval's yellow eyes stared at her through the screen. "There is nothing to discuss, human. Your species will submit to Dominion rule. You will give us your weapons. You will accept our protection. You will kneel before your betters." The bridge became very quiet. Kim could hear the soft humming of machines, the quiet breathing of her crew. Everyone waited for her answer. "How many species have you given this choice to?" Kim asked. 847 species across the galaxy have accepted this honor," Thexval replied. His voice sounded proud. "All of them now live under Dominion protection. They are happy. They are safe. You will be the 848th. Kim looked around at her crew. She saw fear in their eyes, yes, but something else too. She saw anger. She saw pride. These people had worked their whole lives to reach the stars. They had dreamed of meeting other species, of learning from them, of growing together. They had not dreamed of bowing down like dogs. "What happens if we say no?" she asked. Thexval tilted his large head. His forearms moved in a strange gesture. "No species has ever said no. The question makes no sense." "Well," Kim said slowly, "let me make it simple for you. We humans have a saying. We would rather die on our feet than live on our knees." "You speak of death as if it matters," Thexval said. "We offer you life. We offer you peace. We offer you a place in the greatest empire the galaxy has ever known." Kim smiled. It was not a happy smile. "And we offer you our answer. No." The alien commander stared at her for a long moment. His yellow eyes grew wider. His forearms moved in quick, jerky motions. "This is impossible. No species refuses the Dominion. No species fights the Dominion. No species wins against the Dominion." "Then I guess we're about to be your first lesson in human nature," Kim said. Thexval leaned closer to his screen. "You are 3 billion humans on a few small worlds. We are trillions of beings across thousands of star systems. We have weapons that can destroy planets. We have armies that have never lost a war. You cannot win." "Maybe not," Kim agreed. "But we can try." And that's what makes us human. The alien commander's face changed. For the first time, he looked confused. In all his years of conquest, no species had ever spoken to him this way. You would choose death over submission? We choose freedom over safety, Kim replied. We choose to fight rather than surrender. We choose to remain human rather than become your pets. Thexval was quiet for several seconds. When he spoke again, his voice was colder. Very well. We will give you time to think about your foolish words. When your cities burn and your people cry for mercy, remember that you chose this path. The screen went black. Kim turned to face her. Crew. 30 pairs of eyes stared back at her. You all heard that, she said. Anyone who wants to leave can take a shuttle back to Earth. No shame in it. Nobody moved. Good, Kim said. Then let's show these aliens what humans are made of. Captain Lee Dongwu gripped the steering controls of his ship with sweaty hands. 3 months ago, this had been a simple mining vessel called the Rock Eater. Now it was humanity's newest warship, covered in welded metal plates and armed with guns made from mining equipment. Target spotted, whispered his gunner, Sergeant O. Dasam, through the radio. Big ugly alien ship 2 kilometers ahead. Lee squinted through the cockpit window. The Dominion patrol ship floated in space like a sleeping giant. Its dark metal surface gleamed under starlight. Red lights blinked along its sides. It was 10 times bigger than his little mining ship. Remember the plan? Lee said quietly to his small crew. We hit fast, we hit hard, and we run away before they know what happened. Behind him sat 12 other converted ships, old cargo haulers, construction vessels, even a luxury yacht that some rich person had donated to the war effort. None of them looked like proper warships. That was the point. The alien blockade had surrounded Earth for 3 months now. 200 massive Dominion ships sat in space like watchful predators. They had cut off all supply lines to human colonies. No food ships could get through, no medicine, no fuel. The aliens thought this would make humans surrender quickly. They were wrong. Fire! Lee shouted. Bright beams of energy shot from his improvised weapons. The other human ships opened fire too. The Dominion patrol vessel's shields flashed and sparked as the attack hit home. For a moment, nothing happened. Then alarms began screaming inside the alien ship. Emergency lights started flashing. The patrol vessel turned slowly, trying to find its attackers. Go, go, go! Lee yelled. The human ship scattered in all directions like frightened fish. Lee pushed his engines to maximum power. The old mining ship shook and rattled as it fled through space. Behind them, the Dominion ship fired. Back. Giant beams of red energy streaked past Lee's cockpit, missing by inches. One beam hit a piece of floating debris and turned it into glowing dust. Did we hurt them? Asked Odasam. Probably not much, Lee admitted. But that's not the point. The point is to make them angry, make them worried, make them think twice, before they relax. Far below on Earth, Dr. Han Bora worked in an underground factory beneath the city of Seoul. The factory had once made cars. Now it made weapons. Strange, improvised weapons that no proper military would ever use. Hand me that kitchen microwave, she called to her assistant. Ma'am, did you say microwave? Yes. We're going to turn it into a radiation weapon. The aliens have never seen anything like it because no sane species would try it. Around her, hundreds of workers built guns from construction tools, bombs from mining explosives, and armor from cooking pots. It should have been funny. Instead, it was deadly serious. Bora had studied the captured alien technology for weeks. The Dominion built everything perfectly. Their ships were strong, their weapons were powerful, and their tactics were flawless. They had conquered nearly 1,000 worlds using the same methods every time. That was their weakness. They think, war's like a chess game, Bora explained to her team. They move their pieces in perfect order. They follow the rules. They expect us to follow the rules too. What if we don't follow the rules? Asked her assistant. Bora smiled. Then we might actually win. High above in orbit, War Commander Thexaval stood in his command center staring at tactical displays. Red dots showed where human attacks had hit his ships in the past week. The pattern made no sense. "Explain this to me," he said to his aide, Sub-Commander Veltar. "The humans attack supply convoys with mining ships. They ram our patrol vessels with cargo haulers. They use weapons that should not work but somehow do." Veltar's forearms moved nervously. "Perhaps they are desperate, Commander. Desperate creatures do desperate things." "No," Thexaval said slowly. "This is something else. In 847 conquests, no species has fought like this. They attack us with converted civilian ships. They use improvised weapons. They strike where we are weakest and run before we can respond." He turned to look at his aide. "Do you know what bothers me most?" "What, Commander?" "They fight like they think they can win." Veltar's yellow eyes blinked in confusion. "But they cannot win. Our fleet is 10 times larger than their entire military." "Then why?" Thexval asked quietly. "Do I feel like we are the ones being hunted?" On the bridge of the UES Defiance, Admiral Kim Soo-jin read the latest reports. Human raids had damaged 17 Dominion ships this week. Not destroyed, but damaged. The aliens were starting to group their ships together for protection. They were becoming more careful. "Are we winning?" asked her second-in-command, Commander Yu Jae-ho. Kim looked out at the stars. Out there, human families were running short of food. Human colonies were cut off and alone. Human soldiers were fighting impossible odds with improvised weapons. "We're not losing," she said finally. "And for humans, that's the same thing as winning." Outside, another group of converted mining ships prepared for their next raid. The alien blockade was strong, but it was not perfect. Humans were good at finding holes, at taking risks, at doing things that seemed impossible. The war was just beginning. Colonel Choi Jin-woo crawled through the narrow metal tunnel, his knees scraping against the cold surface. Behind him, 12 soldiers followed in silence. They wore black suits that helped them hide in the darkness of space. Each soldier carried weapons that looked more like tools than guns. "Remember," Choi whispered into his radio, "we're not here to fight fair. We're here to steal their ship and get out alive." The tunnel led to the docking bay of Dominion Outpost Sigma-7. The aliens had built it to watch human ship movements near Mars. It was heavily defended and supposedly impossible to attack. That was exactly why Choi had chosen it. "Humans don't do impossible," he had told his team during planning. "We do stupid things that somehow work." The outpost was huge, bigger than most human cities. But Choi had found its weakness. The aliens were so confident in their shields and weapons that they barely guarded their maintenance tunnels. Why would they? No species had ever been crazy enough to try sneaking through them. "Target in sight," whispered Sergeant Park Yoon-ji from ahead. Through a small window they could see the alien command ship docked at the station. It was beautiful and terrible, covered in smooth metal that seemed to glow with its own light. Choi smiled grimly. In 10 minutes, that ship would belong to humanity. Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Yoon Ha-young sat in a dark room filled with computer screens. She had been studying captured Dominion files for weeks, trying to understand how the aliens thought. "I figured it out," she said to the War Council over video call. Admiral Kim's face appeared on one screen along with other human commanders. "What did you find?" Kim asked. "The Dominion has been conquering worlds for thousands of years," Ha-young explained. "But they've never had to adapt. Every species they fight uses the same basic tactics. Form battle lines, fire weapons, try to destroy enemy ships. And that doesn't work against them? Never. Their ships are too strong, their weapons too powerful, so every species eventually surrenders." Ha-young leaned forward. "But we're not every species." She pressed a button, and tactical diagrams filled the screens. "Look at this. When they conquered the Zalari Empire, the battle lasted 6 hours. The Kethmoran Federation held out for 3 days. The longest any species has ever fought them is 2 weeks. "How long have we been fighting?" asked General Kwon Tae-min. 4 months, Ha-young replied. "And we're getting stronger, not weaker." Kim nodded slowly. "Because we don't fight the way they expect." "Exactly. They're waiting for us to line up our ships and have a proper battle. Instead, we hit them with mining equipment and run away. They're waiting for us to surrender when things get bad. Instead, we get more creative. Back on the outpost, Choi's team had reached the docking bay. The alien guards stood in perfect formation, their weapons ready, their eyes scanning for threats. They looked in all the right places. Unfortunately for them, humans rarely came from the right places. Choi dropped from an air vent directly behind the first guard. His knife went into the alien's neck before it could make a sound. Around the bay, his soldiers appeared from impossible angles, taking down guards with silent efficiency. Phase 1 complete, Choi whispered. Moving to Phase 2. Phase 2 was the crazy part. Choi's team ran across the open docking bay toward the command ship. Alarms began screaming. Emergency lights flashed red. More alien guards poured into the bay, their energy weapons charging up. Covering fire, shouted Park Yoon-ji. The human soldiers dove behind cargo containers and started shooting. Their weapons looked like modified construction tools because that's exactly what they were. Plasma cutters turned into energy rifles. Welding torches became flamethrowers. Industrial lasers became sniper weapons. The aliens fired back with proper military weapons. Energy beams turned metal containers into melting puddles. The air filled with smoke and the smell of burning metal. But the humans kept moving forward. "This is insane," one of Choi's soldiers yelled over the noise. "Good," Choi yelled back. "Insane is what we do best." They reached the command ship's entrance. Park Yoon-ji placed a small device on the door lock. It was another human invention, a computer virus disguised as a maintenance tool. The alien security system tried to scan it, got confused, and opened the door. "After you," Choi said politely to his team. Inside the ship, everything was clean and perfect. The walls glowed with soft light. Control panels blinked with organized patterns. Everything had its proper place and purpose. "I hate it already," muttered Park Yoon-ji. They fought their way to the bridge. The alien crew tried to stop them, but they were trained for ship-to-ship combat, not boarding actions by crazy humans with improvised weapons. Within minutes, Choi stood at the ship's main controls. "Can you fly this thing?" he asked his pilot. Corporal Lee Min-seo. Lee looked at the alien controls with wide eyes. Nothing was labeled in human languages. The buttons were the wrong shape for human hands. The displays showed information in alien symbols. "Probably not," she admitted. "Good enough," Choi said. "We'll figure it out as we go." The command ship lifted off from the docking bay with humans at the controls who had no idea what they were doing. It spun wildly, crashed into two walls, and somehow made it out into open space. "Mission accomplished," Choi reported to Admiral Kim. "We have stolen one alien warship. It may explode at any moment, but it's ours." Kim's voice came back through the radio and she was laughing. "Outstanding work, Colonel. Bring it home. Our engineers are going to love taking that thing apart." As the stolen ship limped toward Earth, Choi couldn't help but smile. The aliens expected humans to fight like civilized beings. Instead, they got pirates, thieves, and madmen who turned impossible odds into victories through sheer stubbornness. The war was about to get much more interesting. Engineer Lim Soo-bin stared at the alien shield generator with tired eyes. She had been working for 18 hours straight, taking apart the machine that Colonel Choi's team had stolen. Coffee cups and food containers covered her work table. Her hair was messy and her clothes were dirty, but her mind was sharp. "This is beautiful," she whispered to her assistant. "Look at this design. Perfect efficiency, perfect safety margins, perfect engineering." "That's good, right?" asked her assistant, Kim Tae-ho. Soo-bin shook her head. "It's terrible. The aliens built this to last forever and never break down. But that means it's also boring." She picked up a plasma torch and began cutting into the generator's outer shell. Sparks flew across the workshop. "What if we made it run 3 times harder than it was designed for?" Kim stepped back nervously. "Wouldn't that make it explode?" "Maybe," Soo-bin said cheerfully. "Or maybe it would give us shields strong enough to stop their biggest weapons. Want to find out?" Across human space, similar scenes played out in secret workshops and hidden laboratories. Captured alien technology was being studied, modified, and improved in ways that would have horrified the original designers. Humans took systems meant to run safely for centuries and pushed them to their breaking points. Dr. Bae Sung-ho had figured out how to make alien energy weapons fire twice as fast by removing all their safety features. The weapons would burn out after a few battles, but they would hit much harder while they lasted. Engineer Park Ji-won discovered that alien ship engines could be made 50% faster by feeding them the wrong kind of fuel. The engines would probably explode within a year, but human ships didn't expect to live that long anyway. The aliens think like engineers, Subin explained to a meeting of human scientists. They build things to work perfectly for a very long time. We think like mechanics. We build things to work really well for just long enough. General Kwon Tae-min stood in his command center on Luna Base, watching dozens of screens that showed the positions of human and alien ships throughout the solar system. For the first time in months, the red dots representing enemy forces were not advancing. Status report, he called to his staff. The Dominion siege fleet has pulled back to defensive positions, reported his aide, Major Song Hye-jin. They're grouping their ships together instead of spreading them out. Kwon nodded. They're scared. Good. The human counterattack had begun 3 days ago. Ships equipped with modified alien technology struck at Dominion forces across the solar system. The results were spectacular and terrifying. Captain Yoon Seo-jun had rammed his destroyer into a Dominion cruiser, but his ship's modified shields had held just long enough for his crew to escape. The alien ship had been completely destroyed. Commander, Han Woo-jin's fighters had attacked a supply convoy using weapons that fired so fast they melted their own barrels. Half the human ships had been destroyed by their own weapons, but they had taken the entire convoy with them. Sir, called Lieutenant Cho Min-young from her station. We're getting reports from the Mars sector. Human forces have broken through the blockade there. Kwon smiled grimly. The battle for Mars had been led by Captain Lee from his converted mining ship. He had discovered that alien shields were designed to stop energy weapons and high-speed projectiles. They were not designed to stop slow-moving objects like asteroids. So Lee had pushed asteroids toward the alien fleet and let gravity do the work. The Dominion ships had easily destroyed the first few rocks. Then they had realized that more were coming, hundreds more, too many to stop them all. While the aliens were busy shooting at rocks, human ships had attacked from behind. What's our casualty count? Kwon asked. High, sir. We've lost 40% of our attacking forces. And theirs? Also high. Maybe higher. Kwon nodded. This was the difference between humans and every other species the Dominion had conquered. Other species tried to minimize their losses. Humans accepted terrible losses if it meant hurting the enemy even more. On the Dominion flagship, War Commander Thexval studied the tactical displays with growing alarm. His perfect siege was falling apart. Human attacks were becoming more effective, more unpredictable and more destructive. Explain this to me, he said to his science officer. The humans are using our own technology against us, but it's been modified somehow. Yes, Commander. They have changed our designs in ways that violate all safety protocols. Thexval's forearms moved in an agitated gesture. What kind of improvements? Shield generators running at 300% capacity. Weapons with all safety features removed. Engine systems fed with incompatible fuel mixtures. The science officer paused. Commander, these modifications are extremely dangerous. The equipment could explode at any moment. But they work? Yes, sir. Temporarily, they work very well. Thexval turned to his tactical officer. How many ships have we lost in the past week? 47, Commander. The humans have lost more, but the officer hesitated. But what? They don't seem to care about their losses, sir. Every time we destroy one of their ships, 2 more appear to take its place. Thexval walked to the large window that looked out into space. In the distance, he could see the small blue planet that had caused him so much trouble. Such a tiny world to produce such stubborn creatures. Send a message to Dominion High Command, he said finally. Request immediate reinforcements. Send the Grand Fleet. His aide looked surprised. Sir, the Grand Fleet has not been deployed in over 300 years. Then it's overdue, Thexaval replied. These humans have taught me something important. Sometimes the smaller force wins not because they are stronger, but because they refuse to lose. As the message was sent across the galaxy, human forces continued their impossible campaign. They fought with stolen weapons, modified technology, and equipment that should not have worked. But it did work because humans had always been good at making impossible things possible. Admiral Kim Soo-jin stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching the most terrifying sight she had ever seen. The Dominion Grand Fleet stretched across space like a metal ocean. 300 warships, each one larger than a human city. Their dark hulls gleamed under starlight and their weapons glowed with deadly energy. Admiral, said Lieutenant Baek Ji-hoon quietly, I count 300 enemy ships. We have 87. Kim nodded calmly. Around her flagship, the human fleet, looked like a collection of junk. Military vessels flew alongside cargo ships, mining haulers, and even luxury yachts that wealthy citizens had donated to the war effort. Many ships were held together with metal patches and prayer. Open a channel to all ships, Kim ordered. Kyamoyer, communication system crackled to life, connecting her voice to thousands of human fighters across the fleet. This is Admiral Kim. I won't lie to you. We're outnumbered 4-1. Their ships are bigger, their weapons are stronger, and their armor is thicker. She paused, looking out at the alien fleet. But they have one weakness. They think war is about having the biggest guns and the strongest shields. They don't understand that war's about heart. And humans have more heart than any species in the galaxy. The response came back from her fleet. Cheers, shouts, and even some laughter. These people knew they might die today, but they were not afraid. Captain Seo Min-jun commanded a destroyer that had been damaged in 12 previous battles. Half his weapons didn't work, his engines made strange noises, and his shields flickered on and off randomly, but his crew was ready to fight. Sir, called his gunner, the enemy is moving into attack formation. Min-jun watched the alien ships arrange themselves in perfect lines, like pieces on a chessboard. Every ship was in exactly the right place. Every weapon was pointed in exactly the right direction. It was beautiful and terrifying. Helm, he said to his pilot, take us straight at their center line. Sir? That's their strongest point. Exactly. They won't expect us to attack where they're strongest. Across the human fleet, similar conversations were taking place. While the Dominion forces moved with mechanical precision, human ships scattered in all directions like angry bees. There was no formation, no battle plan, no organized strategy. There was only chaos. Engineer Lim Soo-bin sat in her modified cargo hauler, watching her jury-rigged fusion reactor climb toward dangerous levels. The warning lights on her control panel flashed red, yellow, and colors that didn't have names. Soo-bin, called her co-pilot nervously. The reactor is going to explode. I know, she replied cheerfully. That's the point. Her ship was loaded, with every piece of broken alien technology they had collected over the past months. Damaged shield generators, burnt-out weapons, and engines that leaked radiation. None of it worked properly anymore, but Soo-bin had discovered that broken alien technology made excellent bombs. Target acquired, she announced. One big, ugly alien flagship, dead ahead. Dr. Han Bo-ra piloted her converted research vessel toward a group of Dominion cruisers. Her ship carried no weapons, but it was loaded with something much more dangerous. A computer virus that she had designed specifically for alien systems. The virus was beautiful in its simplicity. When alien computers tried to scan her ship, they would receive data that looked normal but contained hidden instructions. Those instructions would tell the alien ship's systems to do very stupid things. Beginning broadcast, she announced to her team. War Commander Thexaval watched the battle with growing confusion. The human ships were not following any known military tactics. They seemed to be attacking randomly without coordination or plan. Status report, he demanded. Sir, the humans they're doing everything wrong, his tactical officer replied. They're attacking our strongest points, ignoring our weakest ones, and using weapons that shouldn't work. Are we winning? The officer hesitated. I don't know, sir. We're destroying many of their ships, but what? They keep coming. And some of our ships are reporting strange malfunctions. On the main screen, Thexaval watched a human cargo ship ram straight into one of his cruisers. Both ships exploded in a ball of fire. It should have been a victory for the Dominion, but somehow it felt like a defeat. Captain Min Jun's destroyer had lost all its weapons, but he wasn't finished fighting. All hands prepare for ramming speed, he announced to his crew. Sir, called his engineer, we can launch the escape pods first. They'll work as kinetic weapons. Min Jun grinned. I love the way you think. The escape pods launched from his ship like bullets, each one carrying emergency supplies and a small explosive charge. They struck the alien cruiser's shields and detonated, creating holes in the defensive screen. Then Min Jun's destroyer followed them through. The explosion could be seen from halfway across the solar system. Admiral Kim watched her fleet fight with a mixture of pride and sadness. Human ships were dying by the dozens, but they were taking alien vessels with them. More importantly, they were proving something that the galaxy had forgotten. Admiral, called Lieutenant Bayek. Enemy flagship is requesting communication. Kim smiled. Put them through. Thexaval's face appeared on her screen. The alien commander looked tired and confused. Admiral Kim, he said slowly, I request a meeting to discuss terms. Surrender terms? Kim asked. No. Thexval replied quietly. Peace terms. The battle stopped as both fleets received the ceasefire order. In the silence that followed, Kim could hear her crew cheering. They had done the impossible. They had made the mighty Dominion Empire ask for peace. War Commander, Kim said, you asked us to kneel. We chose to fight instead. Now we offer you a choice. Leave human space and never return, or learn what happens when you wake up a sleeping giant. Thexval was quiet for a long moment. Finally he spoke. We accept your terms. For the first time in galactic history, the Dominion Empire signed a peace treaty as equals rather than conquerors. Across the galaxy, other subjugated species heard the news. In the darkness between stars, whispers began to spread. If the humans could do it, maybe they could too. The age of Dominion rule was ending, and it ended not with the roar of superior weapons but with the quiet courage of people who refused to kneel.